Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by Ash Paulson and Chris Kerberfer-Niosi to discuss Ash's playtime with the Plague of Shadows DLC at PAX East. So Ash, you lucky son of a bitch, what'd you think?
I loved it. It was a very small preview. I mean, they really only allowed us to play the Plains of Passage. That was the only unlocked stage for Plague Knight to play. But it was great. I mean, they got to play the entire intro stage and really get a feel for how differently he controls from Shovel Knight and plays in general. And that's really, I think, the defining thing I came away with is that he completely changes how you play the game. And as I assume King Knight and Spectre Knight will as well in the future DLC. But just because you may be the best Shovel Knight player in the world and, memorize that game from front to back, but Plague Knight completely changes how you play the game. He moves differently, he jumps differently, he attacks differently. You have to completely rethink how you approach the game with him. And it's fun. I like it.
That's awesome. What are some of the differences for those for things that are just not quite as obvious, like when you look at it?
Well, I mean, to start off, we didn't get to try any of the alchemy stuff. So, of course, we could get the pickups. We didn't get to synthesize anything or create new attacks. So we were limited to just Plague Knight's basic potion throwing attack. And that, his potion throwing, it doesn't really have a whole lot of velocity behind it, so he can't throw them that far, which kind of the trajectory is a little weak, I guess I should say, which means you have to target enemies from a unique angle. And I would say the main thing that kind of sets him apart is his bomb jump, which basically, if you throw a potion and you hold the attack button down like you're charging up the Mega Buster or something, he'll start flashing. And then when you jump with Plague Knight, if you let go of your charge, he will use his, as you see him when you fight him, he'll use his potions to kind of do a bomb jump in midair and kind of fly across the screen. And the arc of that jump and just the overall angle is just awkward enough to where it really makes mastering that jump a little tricky in a really satisfying way. So it's not like Shovel Knight where you kind of have very fine control over where he goes and his trajectory makes sense. With Plague Knight, he controls a little more loosely, he moves slowly, his initial jump really sucks. You basically have to use the bomb jump because his regular jump is much worse than Shovel Knight's. It won't get you anywhere. So basically, mastering Plague Knight, to me, so far, is about mastering the use of that bomb jump.
So, Chris, the reason I brought you in is because I know you're a massive Shovel Knight fan as well, and we didn't get your thoughts on the DLC as a whole, so I thought it'd be interesting to see what you thought about the DLC as well as how you feel hearing what Ash has basically said about this DLC.
Sure. I didn't have the chance to listen to your guys' overall discussion yet, so to any of the listeners, I apologize if I'm repeating any obvious stuff. First of all, I think it's kind of cool by, kind of coincidence, because obviously these were fan voted, but that between Plague Knight and Spectre Knight, we have two of the most, disturbingly themed of the characters in the game. Breaking down the DNA and the pure elements of enemies to collect, what they're made of and use them for attacks with Plague Knight. I shudder to think of what exactly Spectre Knight would be doing, just reaping souls of the bosses and enemies across the land. But what Ash said is definitely true, even just from looking at it. I took a look at the video a while ago when it was first posted, and it's kind of funny because it seems like we're almost getting. Play devil's advocate here. It seems like we're kind of getting like a potential Sonic game that people have been asking for a while, or at least like one of many ideas of one where it's like, I want to be able to play as everybody, and everybody has their own sort of control scheme, a la Sonic and Knuckles and Tails all having their own specialties and whatnot. And in that same kind of way, it seems like they've made this interesting challenge of his controls are tricky. And even at times awkward, like Ash was saying, but like in a way that, okay, like when you master them and you really know how to do it right, like there's a part in particular, even on just the first level where like he's got to jump onto that little tiny platform with the skeleton guy, and like you have to be able to hit him and jump on it and not mess yourself up entirely. But it seems, even just from a design standpoint, like just looking at this level and looking at the gameplay, that they've balanced out, like, okay, this is tricky and challenging, but it's not going to be frustrating to the point of, like, I don't want to do this, I'm just going to play in normal mode or whatever, and especially also, again, I think about in the grander scheme of things with, like, King Knight is bigger. How's he going to fit through certain parts? And Spectre Knight is pretty tall as well, and plus he can fly. Is that going to factor in? I think, I don't know, maybe you guys talked about this in your discussion video, but going back to the Sonic correlation of, like, if there might be some branching pathways, like new parts of the levels that they had to design to retrofit the control schemes of not just Plague Knight but all these characters. Maybe they're even kind of killing a few birds with one stone, or rather killing green flying dragon things with one alchemic blast, I should say.
Well, that specifically is something that they said is happening in the press release, that there are going to be new routes through existing levels for these new characters to take advantage of, which I love stuff like that. So I'm very curious to see how exactly they're going to change the existing levels and to kind of suit Plague Knight and show us different routes that we didn't know were there through the existing levels. I love stuff like that.
On a relevant subject, and Ash, as the Sonic aficionado, you might know this. When they did the Sonic 2 and Knuckles and the Sonic 3 and Knuckles stuff, did they go back or did they somehow ROM manipulate the thing to add stuff, or were the levels always designed that way? Do you know?
I actually don't know. I mean,
I played the heck out of the add-on, the Sonic and Knuckles add-on pack for the Genesis, and they definitely had different routes to take with Knuckles because he couldn't jump as high as Sonic, so they had to change that out in Sonic 3, but they didn't really change anything in Sonic 2, so it's like you could basically go the same ways, but you also maybe you couldn't jump that high as Sonic to get to a certain space, but you can still use the glide and sort of finagle your way up there anyway, at least as far as I remember. It's been a while since I played Sonic 2 and Knuckles.
Okay, the reason I'm thinking about that is because I'm wondering if on that same kind of, because the folks at Yacht Club, obviously, they're fans of all these same kind of games that we all grew up with too. I wonder about if, maybe, again, to kill two birds with one stone, or I guess three, is if they're designing some of these new things also with Spectre Knight and King Knight in mind, in terms of because we're going to be, getting into doing those next anyway. Why don't we kind of consider some of those things in each of these stages? Because I think the whole campaign has, I want to say 15 levels, something like that, right? So maybe, for the sake of efficiency, they might be doing something that way, which could, be really beneficial, and maybe even tease I wonder or maybe they might even have something what, I can't get up there even with Plague Knight or Shovel Knight, but maybe I can get up there as Spectre Knight, that kind of thing. But who knows? I have no idea really.
From what I know of, and I don't know, I'm not an expert, but from what I know of game development and situations like this, I don't think they plan for it in advance. I think they're probably going back and redesigning the levels to suit Plague Knight and these other DLC characters after the fact. Just from what I've heard about situations like this in game development, usually developers aren't able to plan that far in advance because it's impossible to know sales and how people will play the game and things like that. So I don't know exactly how Sonic 2 and Knuckles was done, but I don't think that Sega developed those levels that far in advance. I think it's kind of impossible to expect them to have done. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure something happens where, when Sonic and Knuckles detect Sonic 2, it loads a slightly alternate set of levels that's designed for Knuckles to have a few new pathways to get through the levels. I think that's what happens.
That's what I figured too, and that's why I wonder, maybe it was Yacht Club, or at least maybe at this stage, or no, maybe even at an earlier stage, because they had the whole the Kickstarter with all this information kind of set in stone. I wonder about if maybe they did have some of that stuff in mind, but who can say? Either way, we'll definitely see what how vastly different the levels are going to be. That very much might could have been the reason why only the first level was being shown in the demo that you got to play, is because we're still kind of futzing around with things and kind of testing the waters for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
choosing the first level is also good because it sounds like Plague Knight is completely different from Shovel Knight and how you approach really everything. So having the first level as sort of that basis there is a really good idea, because I think in the original Shovel Knight demo they only let you play that level and King's Knight stage, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
They are great stages for sort of just figuring out the characters and learning what you have to do.
Yeah, and later on they added Spectre Knight stage 2 to be able to as a playable demo stage. But yeah, no, I agree. Those are really good levels to kind of test the waters out on. And like I said, they could easily have gone the route of making Plague Knight move and jump exactly like Shovel Knight and just give him, potion throwing instead of a shovel to attack with. But they haven't done that at all. Plague Knight completely feels different. I mean, he moves a little more slowly. I mean, he's not athletic, right? I mean, Shovel Knight is like a warrior, a hero of justice. You expect him to be athletic. Plague Knight, he sits in his laboratory, and Plague Knight sits in his lab brewing potions, and he's kind of, you wouldn't expect him to be athletic like that, and he's not. His regular jump sucks, and it's through the use of his potions that he can propel himself so highly. But he can't jump and bounce around like Shovel Knight can.
This just sort of came to me. Is there plague puns in the game? Like, how they like steal that shovel when you start a level as Shovel Knight. Do you have anything like that with Plague Knight?
Yeah, I can't remember what they are offhand, but yeah, it actually does. It says different things at the beginning of the stage.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I think one of them was like prepare your potions.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, prepare your potion. I think was one of them. Yeah. So they do completely change the little minor details like that. And from what I saw, the dialogue is just as well written and just as charming as the core Shovel Knight quest. So I mean, it looks like they're putting a lot of care into this, and I don't doubt that the majority of the game is going to be similar to Shovel Knight's core game. I don't think it's going to be completely different, but how you play the game is going to be completely different. And they did actually confirm to me, and hopefully I can say this, but they did actually confirm to me that Jake Kaufman is making new music for Plague of Shadows, which of course is the number one most exciting element to me, because I'm like, yeah, I did a little fist pump. It looked like such a nerd, but I mean, the soundtrack is so amazing, and to hear that he's making new music for Plague of Shadows just gets me so excited I can't even tell you.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? Because, I mean, we talked about this in a previous discussion, but I'm pretty sure Chris is going to agree with us here in that we would totally pay for this DLC, yet it's free.
I might have even said that on a previous, or maybe even on my Curb Law that I did about it or something. I all of this stuff. I was actually even going to add to that. Speaking of vast changes, I recently had the pleasure of meeting one of the character designers. I think I'll keep their identity secret because I don't know how much they would want revealed from this. But I met the artist who is going to be responsible for redesigning the female versions, or I guess rather just the gender swapped versions of all the characters for when they have the gender flopped mode that'll be part of the DLC as well. And they were talking about how it's going to be an interesting challenge, like keeping the look of each of them, as in like the female Shovel Knight is still going to have like the mask that obscures their face. They're not just going to look like a blue palette swap of like Shield Knight or something. And then likewise, like Shield Knight slash Enchanter for the guy version of them will still have their humanoid face shown, and they have to go about like, okay, how do I make them still look beautiful and elegant and masculine at the same time, Right. So we've been on that as well as just like getting to see that, and like I'll just play through the normal campaign again because it's probably been like a year since the game came out, and I feel like replaying it. And now I can do it with these new, cool sprite art and everything. It's not just going to be like something simple like that. Like even that's exciting, and that's as far as I know, that's not even going to be like a change to the main campaign other than just aesthetics, and even that's just exciting,
Yeah, no, totally. I totally replay the game again just to see all the different designs and seeing how they changed it all, because that stuff's kind of interesting to me. It is, as you were saying, a challenge to try to keep that character's basics while still making them feel one gender or the other. Because, well, let's just take Shovel Knight, because how do you make that female? You could totally claim that's a female in there. You just don't change the armor or whatnot. But the obvious way to do it is, of course, do the typical fantasy thing where make it more revealing and put boob holsters in the armor.
Put a bow on her head, make her like Minnie Mouse. It's a girl character now. You did it. I'm going to say, I'll just say that the designer I met, she's very talented, so I'm sure that what she comes up with is going to be really, really good anyway. So
yeah.
Well, kind of on that subject, kind of a neat thing in Shovel Knight is if there's a little Easter egg with regard to what actually might be under Shovel Knight's helmet. If you hang around in the Armory Village for a little while and just kind of watch all the NPCs walk by, you'll see a Shovel Knight sprite walk by with the mask off, and it's like an anglerfish underneath. so it's not even human. And and when you talk to him, he says something like, "Oh man, it sure is nice to get our masks off every once in a while, isn't it?" And kind of like, ha ha ha. So and that's all he says, and he walks away. But it makes you think, what is Shovel Knight actually? I mean, it's easy to assume that he's a human like Shield Knight, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. I mean, what if he's not? Maybe he's a fish.
I just looked that up. I've never seen that before, by the way.
Oh yeah, I came upon it by accident, just wandering around in the village. I'm like, that's so weird.
Oh, what if he's
that's like when I found that, what's that Easter egg in Mario World where like on the the special world menu, it just goes into like the funky Mario NES remix.
Yeah.
I discovered that when I was like 10. I was just like in the bathroom, then I heard it change. And then I go back in my room, like by the time I'm done going, and then like it just goes back to the music, the normal music again. I'm just like, did I imagine that? Am I hallucinating? It's just like in a fever dream or something playing video games.
I love Easter eggs like that. Oh, it's wonderful. But
I like Easter eggs too.
Yeah, Easter eggs. Come on,
Easter eggs are the best.
Rabbits. Oh,
that's what I'm reduced to, is making fun of your syntax. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
What other? I feel like we're still missing. Oh no, there's like the versus mode or something, right? Isn't like some kind of like Smash Brothers?
Yeah, like Smash Brothers mode.
Is that part of this DLC or is that future DLC?
It's future DLC.
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay.
So we have 3 more DLC packs, as far as I know, coming for this, and I'm correct in saying all of them are free, correct?
That they apparently are, which is amazing because I would have paid for all of them.
Yeah, seriously. So we got King's Knight versus and
Spectre Knight.
Spectre Knight, thank you.
We also have gender swap mode.
I said this before, but please let us pay you.
Yeah,
it's sort of like that.
Right?
I'm sure both of you saw on their Twitter how they had a fan come up to them and at PAX East and give them a 20 and said, "I'm sorry for pirating Shovel Knight." You know?
Oh, I didn't hear about. I didn't hear about
that.
That's amazing.
Oh, you guys didn't see that? Yeah, they.
No.
I follow them on Twitter and they retweeted it or they tweeted this out.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on. It's like why would you? Like why would you even?
There are
like,
a lot of entitled assholes out there these days in games.
Sure, but it's like what? It's like $15 at best, right, on the eShop?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, because other people's hard work should be free, haven't you heard?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It should all be free. No one should have to pay for other people's.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, Chris, I have this animation I need done, but it'll get you a lot of exposure. That's cool, right?
That's all I have to say to that.
No, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But yes.
I can't remember if. Okay, I don't even remember if I was on another Shovel Knight discussion video that we all did together, but something else that I'm also looking forward to. By the way, hopefully I'm not deterring the topic too much from not just talking with the Plague Knight stuff in general. But something I remember talking with the folks from Yacht Club about maybe like a year or 2 ago now on Gaijin Goomba did this roundtable indie game development podcast thing, which was really cool, and I got to meet a lot of the folks from Yacht Club. And they were talking about, because they were very interested in Hat in Time, which is another big indie game coming out very soon. And they were like, oh, we really want to do a game like that someday. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? And they were like, well, if we were to do a sequel to this, we'd want to go, upwards to, a 16-bit Super Nintendo thing and do, a Super Shovel Knight. And then I was like, wait, as in, then after that, you'd want to do, a Shovel Knight 64 type of thing, where they're like, yeah, we want to do that at some point.
No, they've not. No, they haven't made a secret of their desire to do that at all, and I think that would be great.
I want it because I actually got the chance. A fan was able to send me a beta code for Hat in Time. I got my computer unfortunately doesn't run it the best.
Mine either.
So I'm like, this is aggravating. But because what I have, the little bit I even did play, stuttering it all, is like, holy crap, that game has some real charm to it. I need to start paying some real attention to that game. And I like that the indie space is actually getting into 3D games now and going back to that platforming of the N64 area, because we see games all the time doing the NES and Super NES callbacks and whatnot. As ugly as the PlayStation and N64 area could be, I still kind of want to see games of that type just done.
Oh, entirely
better.
Yeah. And I remember I even the horror that I am, I was like, if you guys want to use voice acting for Shovel Knight 64, I can be your casting director. And I don't know if that would ever happen, because way forward, all the people that came from there, they've actually worked with the real actors before. But not to say that my pool isn't real, but either way. No, I would love to see those in the future. I mean, the fact that they're able to keep just the first one running for this long and like very, very strong too, like just with all this stuff, like it's pretty admirable. I really have to say, like, just the fact that everybody is you know, us included, is legit excited for just like getting to play the original game again, like before they even start, you know, doing anything with like an actual sequel. It's like that really says something good about the Yacht Club folks. So, I mean, you know, hats off.
It hasn't even
really.
been on every console yet. I mean, getting the PlayStation version, and each console is actually getting their own unique thing, potentially even Nintendo, because, you know, PlayStation, of course, has Kratos, and they just announced for the Xbox One and Xbox 360 versions that they're going to have something to do with Battletoads. I'm not sure if they're going to be a boss or whatnot, but it's still, like, that's really cool.
Yeah, I agree, and I've been fantasizing about. Of course, it will never happen, but for the Wii U version, give us a Mega Man cameo. I mean, he's at home on Nintendo platforms now anyway, so let's see a Mega Man cameo in the Wii U version. Again, will never happen, but it would be pretty.
You
cool
know what? Hey,
Bomber.
never say never. I mean, you know, we were probably thinking that way for a long time about a lot of stuff, but I mean, it's certainly possible now. I think that it would be more likely if it was like a first party
Exactly,
Nintendo
that's why I said
character
that.
of some kind, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, no, if Nintendo wanted to be like, hey, let's do that, I mean, I think that is incredibly possible. So, you know, fingers crossed for sure.
Yeah. Having the Blue Bomber and the Blue Burrower together in one game would be pretty great.
Well, they do have that Mega Man 1 connection.
Yeah.
The music. So,
right.
Oh, man.
On the topic of A Hat in Time, I actually did get to play one other indie game at PAX East that I just want to name drop because it comes out at the end of the month, and it was really good. It's called Axiom Verge. And it's a Metroid. It's kind of a Metroid clone, I guess, but it definitely has its own identity. It's got kind of a cool vibe to it, and it basically plays like a 2D Metroid game. But it's coming to PS4 and Vita, and I think PS3 at the end of the month. So, you know, obviously it's not on Wii or Wii U yet, but if you like games like that, definitely check it out. It's super cool, and I could not get enough of it at PAX East. But back on the subject of Shovel Knight, I love that, of Shovel Knight. No,
why aren't you giving him hell, Chris? Thanks.
Yeah.
It was too fast for me because he already made the joke out of it. He beat me to the punch.
So back on the subject of Shovel Knight, Plague of Shadows, it's super fun. It really does change the way you approach the entire game, and definitely should be excited about it. It's a lot of fun.
And I echo that sentiment. I am absolutely excited to play the game again, several times in a row now with all three of these new campaigns and all the new modes and everything. So yeah, no, again, hats off to the Yacht Club folks for putting together something that, you know, is becoming kind of a legend in its own right, like very quickly. It's super admirable, and they have all my respect. I also want to give a little plug to another new indie game that I not only played the crap out of over the past week or so, but got the chance to be involved with. It's a game called Black Hole, and it was by a studio called Fiolasoft. They're in the Czech Republic, and they didn't do a crowdfunding campaign. They didn't do anything. There was literally just a bunch of guys that got together and made this really, really impressive, super hardcore 2D platformer. It's a puzzle platformer where you have to collect these little energy balls in each stage, and you kind of like control the gravity and flip it around to different walls you can stick to and everything. It's really, really solid. It's an incredibly well-designed game, really compelling levels, and you feel very satisfied when you're smart enough to complete each stage 100% and collect all the different energy balls and things. I had the pleasure of voice directing and casting this game on a very small budget and a very small amount of time, but it features the likes of folks like Shady Vox and Little Karibo, Antfish, Edwin Tiong, Kira Buckland, a whole bunch of other really talented folks. Dialogue is a little wonky because it was directly translated from Czech, but still pretty funny. Got some cool stuff in there. It's been getting really good reviews from everybody so far. It just hasn't fully gotten out there, so I want to give it as much attention as possible because the guys at Fiolasoft did a really good job on it. So go check that out.
But you're also doing another game, aren't you? That you did the voice of the main character. I'm trying to think of the name of it off the top of my head because it's
yes, that's right. I will probably be plugging the crap out of that game later in the year. I'll probably even do videos with you guys about it. I'll hook you up with some of the staff or whatever. But Y2K. It is a postmodern RPG. It's very inspired by the likes of Earthbound. I voiced the main character, Alex, in that. They showcased it at a bunch of gaming conventions over the last few months. And I think they're aiming to get that out by end of 2015. Was an absolute pleasure working on that. If you guys get to play it in any place, I think it'll be at E3 as well, and probably PAX Prime. Keep an eye out for that. It's spelled YIIK, like I, like Roman numeral 2, Y2K, like year 2000.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Please keep an eye out for that one for later this year, for sure.
It's been definitely getting some good buzz, but all right, guys. Well, I think that covers it for our Shovel Knight and other indie games discussion. That was unexpected.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for watching, and Chris, thank you for joining us today. Have anything else to plug other than the games that you're voicing in?
Or helping other people voice in. I mean, as always, you can. I'm working on Tome episodes, and I'm doing Kerblog still, twice a week. If you want to check out my YouTube channel, Kerber for 15. As always, I'm sure I'll probably be hopefully back for more of these again. I love talking to these guys, and I think we were off camera. We were talking about we should talk about Kingdom Hearts 3 soon because I want to talk about Kingdom Hearts 3. So we'll go on for 7 years about that at some point, I'm sure. But all the usual schlock from me as always. So.
All right, and of course, guys, if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, and of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for more on Shovel Knight and other things gaming too. Till next time, guys. Bye.
I love you, Vert.